The Millionaire, the homeless black man, and the Elon Musk and Donald Trump story. Jack Harrison sprinted down the slick streets of Manhattan, rain smashing his face like 1,000 tiny needles. The tropical storm had hit without warning. Dark clouds swallowing the skyline, winds howling like a wild animal unleashed. Neon signs flickered as thunder boomed above, turning the city into a scene from a nightmare. He ducked into the smallest convenience store he could find, the door swinging open with a sharp creak. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of stale coffee and cheap cigarettes. Behind the counter, an older woman glanced up, then returned to counting loose change. Near the back, a figure huddled by the snacks, dark eyes peeking from beneath a worn hoodie. Maya. Jack's breath hitched. She was a homeless woman, but there was something about her that didn't fit the usual picture. Her gaze was sharp, like she saw through the chaos outside, and maybe even through Jack himself. Just fact. Jack forced a smile and shook the pounding rain from his jacket. He wasn't used to this. Running a six-figure startup, buzzing from calls and deals, stock prices and investor meetings. This was a world away. Alone, tired, craving control. And here was Maya, calm, in the middle of the storm, untouched by the hustle. "You ever think," Maya said, tossing a candy bar on the counter, "that all this success stuff, it's just noise? Like, none of it really matters when you're stuck in your own head." Jack blinked. His chest tightened. Who was this woman? A voice inside told him to walk away. But something newer, stranger was stirring. "I have a place to be," Jack said. But his voice cracked. Maya smiled, a sad, knowing curl of lips. She folded her hands. "I used to have places you don't even dream of. Family, money, a name that meant something. Then it all blew up." Her eyes flickered with pain. "And I ended up here." Jack's heart hammered. Was this just a story? An act to catch sympathy? Why would someone with everything like that want to be here? On these streets? He struggled to keep calm, hiding the lump growing in his throat. Maya looked at him like she could read his secrets. Because sometimes the quiet noise of the world with all its rules and expectations, it's worse than the storm outside. The store's door rattled in the wind again. Jack didn't notice at first. Then, a shadow slipped past the blinking neon sign outside. A man stood watching, face half hidden, eyes sharp as knives. Jack felt his skin crawl. Someone was hunting Maya's past, digging for the truth she fought hard to bury. A sick twist of fear winded through Jack's stomach. He faced a choice: help her reclaim the life she lost, risking everything he'd built, or stand beside her in this broken, messy here and now, where real meaning seemed to bleed through the cracks. Lightning struck, wiping the sky clean of stars and hope. Maya's voice dropped like a whisper. "You ever feel like you're drowning, Jack? Like every choice is pulling you under?" He swallowed hard. Outside, the storm roared. Inside, two souls, tangled in secrets and storms of their own. Who was the real prisoner here? And who held the key? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content that's coming. And since you're here, drop a powerful like. That really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and let me know in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. The storm continued its furious dance outside, ripping through the streets, its raw power echoing in the small store. Jack felt a trembling urgency in Maya's words, as if they were threads weaving into the storm. But then, the door swung open again, slamming hard against the wall. A gust of wind blasted inside, swirling the scent of rain and something else, something metallic. "Maya!" the figure shouted, pushing inside. It was the man from outside, the shadow lurking by the neon. His face was pale, eyes darting around, hungry with desperation. "Maya, we need to talk, now." Jack's heart raced. "You know her?" He felt the tension thrumming between all three of them, like the crackling air before lightning. Maya's expression shifted in an instant. The calm facade shattered. "Get out, Travis!" she yelled, voice shaking. Fear flashed in her eyes, revealing a deeper truth. Who was this man to her? "Just listen. I don't want to hurt you," Travis replied, hands up. But his demeanor suggested otherwise. The flickering lights overhead cast tight shadows, chasing away any sense of safety. "Like hell. You've already hurt me enough." Maya stepped back, the candy bar sliding off the counter. Jack moved between them instinctively, heart pounding, defensive instincts screaming. "Why are you here?" Jack challenged, and the air grew thick with every word. A sudden crack of thunder rattled the window. Travis's expression twisted. "Maya, they found out about your past. They're coming for you." "What?" Jack's stomach dropped. Maya, with her sharp eyes and quiet resolve, hiding a past that could be so fierce it caught the attention of whoever was lurking in the storm outside. "They want you back." "They don't care who gets in their way," Travis said, stammering slightly. The desperation in his voice was palpable. "I came to warn you. You can't stay here." Maya shook her head violently, as if shaking away ghosts. "No, I don't want it. It's over." Jack searched her face, confusion and concern twisting within him. "What are they? Who are they?" "Maya is more than she seems," Travis spat, desperation turning to frustration. "She was part of something huge, a big operation, and they want her back in the game." Maya's lips tightened. "I'm not going back. I'm free from that life." "What life?" Jack's voice cracked. The walls felt like they were closing in, shadows creeping closer. Maya wasn't just a woman without a home. She carried secrets that could explode. "Listen to me," Travis's voice broke. "You need to hide. They won't stop until they find you. You think this storm is bad? What's coming is worse." A siren howled in the distance, growing nearer. Jack made a choice in that moment, stepping closer to Maya, feeling her tremble against the chaos. "We can figure this out together." But Travis shook his head, eyes wild. "You don't get it. She's the key to everything. Their key. You don't want to get mixed up in her storm. It'll destroy you." The words hung heavy, thick and suffocating. Jack felt a chill crawl down his spine. He glanced at Maya, her shield now cracked, her past clawing its way back into the light. What's true here? Who are you really? Maya met his gaze, pain swimming under the surface. Sometimes the only way to break free is to embrace the storm. And outside, the storm roared louder, as if demanding answers of its own. In that moment, Jack's reality shattered. The woman he'd seen through the chaos was not just lost. She was a key to secrets unknown, woven into a darkness he had never anticipated. What did he get himself into? Would he stand by her side? Or would the storm overwhelm them? Both? Maya's gaze grounded Jack, but the storm outside twisted the air heavy with tension. Suddenly, the door burst open, a gust of wind sending wrappers swirling like confetti. A man stepped in, water streaming from his slicked-back hair and dark coat. Jack's pulse raced. It was the same shadow he saw through the window. "Get away from her," the man snarled, voice low and dangerous. Maya straightened, the calm dissipating. "Tyrone," she said, her voice barely a whisper, like sand on an eroding shore. Jack's heart sank. Tyrone? Was he part of her past? The brooding intensity of the man clashed against the warmth of the store. A storm of his own brewing inside this tiny space. "I'm not going anywhere," Tyrone replied, stepping closer, eyes locking onto Maya. "You think this is a game? Let's go." Maya stood her ground. "I won't go back." "Back? Back where?" Jack asked, suddenly feeling the need to protect the woman he barely knew. "What's going on?" Tyrone turned to Jack, sizing him up like a predator. "You have no idea who she really is, do you?" Jack's stomach dropped. "What do you mean?" "I'm saying she's not just some homeless woman. She used to run in circles you can only dream of. Class, wealth, privilege, everything you think you care about," Tyrone said, voice dripping with disdain. "But we don't get to choose our fate." Jack's mind raced. The weight of ambition, the meetings, the expectations, it all felt hollow against this revelation. "You're lying," Jack spat, but doubt nipped at his heels. "Look at her," Tyrone shouted, gesturing wildly toward Maya. "She's just a shadow of her former self. The world's discarded her, and now she's playing the martyr like it's some kind of badge." Maya's eyes glimmered, a mix of anger and hurt. "This isn't a game, Tyrone. You don't get to dictate my life anymore." Jack felt a lump rising in his throat. He searched Maya's face, looking for answers, for truths that exploded like fireworks in his mind. "What's your past?" Before Maya could respond, the lights flickered, and the storm outside intensified. Thunder clapped, like the universe itself was roaring in response. Tyrone laughed, a bitter sound that cut through the tension. "She's running from her past, and I'm here to bring it back." Maya trembled. "Not like this. You don't know what they did to me. You don't know how hard I fought to break free." "And yet, here you are," Tyrone shot back, stepping closer, closing the space. "This place is where you belong now." Jack felt the pain in her eyes, the fragility of the moment. "No, this isn't right!" "You're psyching her out." But as he stepped forward, ready to challenge Tyrone, the man drew something from his coat. A flash of silver that glinted in the flickering light. A gun. Maya's face went pale. Jack's heart raced. "No!" he shouted, instinctively moving to push Maya behind him. "You can't!" But then it all went dark. The power cut, leaving them in darkness, swallowed by the storm's fury. The silence that followed was thick, heavy with uncertainty. "Stay back!" Tyrone's voice trembled now, fear creeping into its steel. A flash of lightning illuminated the space, and in that moment, Jack realized they were all vulnerable, trapped in a storm of choices and consequences, on the edge of a precipice they couldn't see. "Jack!" Maya's voice broke through the darkness, raw and desperate. "Help me!" There it was, the heart of the storm. Would Jack step into the chaos to help her, or would they both drown in secrets and shadows? Everything hung in the balance, and the night promised that the truth would cut deeper than any storm. The air was thick, a pulse of fear hanging over them as Jack steadied his breath. In the darkness, the storm raged like a beast, threatening to consume everything in its path. "Maya!" he called, but the name barely escaped his throat, drowned in the chaos surrounding them. "Maya!" He felt her trembling behind him, the warmth of her fear sending ripples through him, raw and real. Deep within, Jack knew he'd crossed a line, but there was no turning back now. "Tyrone," he said, taking a step forward, his heart racing. "Put it down. Whatever game you think you're playing, it ends here." The tension crackled in the dark, and then a sharp click. "I'm not playing!" Tyrone's voice cut through the air, heavy with the weight of desperation. "This is real, and you—" But before he could finish, a sudden crash erupted from outside. The sound shattered the stillness like glass breaking, followed by a chorus of screams. A blinding flash lit up the room, illuminating everything for a split second. And then, silence. "Maya!" Jack shouted again. He turned, desperately searching the dark for her. Her face was twisted in horror, shadowed by the dim light, eyes wide and filled with something Jack never expected to see. Fear, mixed with betrayal. "Jack!" Her voice trembled, a whisper that sliced through the air. But then, everything shifted. The door flew open violently, propelled by the wind, and in marched figures clad in black, faces hidden, voices low and commanding. The room was suddenly filled with movement, chaos bounding off the walls like a racing heartbeat. "Get on the ground!" one of the figures barked, voice loud enough to slice the tension. Jack barely had time to process. Instinct kicked in. He pulled Maya close, shielding her. "Stay behind me." She squeezed his hand, but the tremor was there. As he faced the newcomers, his mind spun. Were these the people Tyrone warned about? Had they followed him here? Were they the storm that had been brewing in the background? But just as fear reached a boiling point, everything changed again. The man in black stepped closer, a doff of his hood revealing a familiar face, one Jack never expected to see in this storm. "Eric?" Jack gasped, disbelief slushing through his veins like ice. Eric Johnson, the billionaire investor who had thrown Jack wild chances and dreams. But here he was, drenched, a haunted look in his eye that made Jack's heart drop. "Jack!" Eric yelled, urgency spilling into his voice. "We don't have time! Maya, it's not what you think. You're not just a nobody. You're part of something big, something dangerous. They're looking for you," he panted, breathless, eyes darting around for unseen threats. "What?" Maya stumbled, the words hitting her like a punch. "What do you mean?" Lightning cracked outside, illuminating their stunned faces, and for a moment, everything was still. Jack's mind raced. Doubt settled in as he looked at Maya. Was it possible? The truth, Eric pressed, glancing nervously toward the door, is that your past is pulled into a web we never knew existed. You were always the key to something much bigger than you can imagine. Maya shook her head, confusion written across her features. What are you talking about? Eric frowned, urgency clawing at him. The organization you ran from? It's alive, Maya. They've been tracking you. Jack, you need to understand Maya. She's part of something unstoppable. It's what left her vulnerable and why they're here now. Jack felt the floor drop beneath him. This was bigger than he thought. Every decision he made, every moment they shared, it was all teetering on a precipice. But before anyone could respond, the lights flickered back on, bright and blaring. The figures in black shifted, their faces obscured, but they advanced with a purpose, moving on instinct. Maya! One hissed, voice gravelly, as they breached the threshold. Run! Eric yelled out, and in a heartbeat, Jack grabbed Maya's hand and they bolted toward the back door just as the figures lunged. As they pushed out into the storm, realization crashed over Jack like the cold rain. What had he just uncovered? And who was Maya really? In that chaotic moment, Jack knew their world had just shifted, secrets unspooled like threads about to tear apart, and they were all wrapped tightly in the storm's wrath. What had he gotten himself into? Maya's question hung in the air, heavy and raw. Jack felt a tremor in his hands as he stared into the depths of her dark eyes. Outside, the storm was a relentless beast, but inside, a different kind of storm brewed, a quiet chaos that threatened to unravel him. "Do you?" he whispered, his voice barely rising above the ringing of the neon lights. Before Maya could answer, the door swung open with a violent gust. The man from the street rushed inside, water dripping off his thick leather jacket. His eyes, sharp and unforgiving, scanned the small store. The atmosphere shifted like the wind. Fear climbed Jack's spine. "Get away from her!" shouted the man, voice booming in the small space. The older woman behind the counter jumped, dropping the change she had been counting. Maya stiffened, her expression shifting from calm to alarm. "Derek," she breathed, a flicker of recognition sparking in her gaze. "I told you to leave me alone." Jack's heart raced. Who was this Derek? "I'm not leaving without you," he growled, taking a step toward Maya. "We're done playing hide and seek. You're coming back with me now." Jack felt a pulse of anger surge through him. "What do you want with her? You don't just barge in here like this." Derek's eyes locked on to Jack, and in that moment, Jack felt naked, exposed. The air thickened with tension. "Stay out of this, kid," Derek snapped, his voice lowering. "This is between me and her. Maybe it should have stayed that way, Derek," Maya said, her voice trembling. But her eyes held a fierce resolve Jack had never seen before. "I'm done hiding." Jack's mind raced. What had Maya hidden from him? What past loomed like a dark shadow, ready to swallow them whole? Maya surged forward, her hands clenched. "I didn't ask for your help. I don't need your life running me over again." Derek stepped closer, eyes flashing with a mix of anger and desperation. "You made a choice, Maya. You can't run from what you are." A chill coursed through Jack. What did he mean? Am I a prisoner to my own life? Maya shot back, her voice rising. "You're not my keeper!" The words hit Jack like a thunderclap. The air crackled with hidden truths, and the world outside faded away. He could feel the gravity of Maya's pain, the weight of decisions long made. Then came the twist, a muffled explosion, followed by a piercing scream from outside. A blinding flash illuminated the store, freezing time for a heartbeat. Jack turned toward the sound, instinctively grabbing Maya's arm, pulling her closer. "What was that?" he stammered, eyes wide. Derek's expression shifted, fear mingling with something darker. "This isn't just about you, Maya. You think your past is gone, but it follows you. This is what you wanted all along. You wanted to leave." "Shut up!" she screamed, breaking. "I made mistakes, but..." Then Jack understood. It wasn't just about a past life. It was something much worse. The door burst open again, and chaos stormed in. A group of people in dark clothes, their faces obscured by masks. They barreled into the store, eyes wild. Jack's heart stopped. "Get down!" one shouted, and a flash of metal glinted in his grip. Jack fell to the floor, pulling Maya with him. He felt her trembling beside him, and the world outside blurred into a cacophony of shouts and confusion. He had no idea what was happening, only that everything he thought he knew, everything he thought he understood about Maya, was collapsing around him. "Who are you?" Jack yelled, voice hoarse. Maya looked at him, eyes wide, fear palpable. "You don't want to know, Jack. You really don't." And just like that, in the chaos and noise, the truth fractured. Shadows gathered, secrets unraveled. The storm outside was nothing compared to the one brewing inside. He had to figure this out before it was too late. Would he lose her? Was he already too late? Maya's eyes bore into Jack, rippling with uncertainty, but fire flickered behind them. The wind howled, drowning the city's sounds outside. Jack felt the chaos seep in, tangling in the air that felt heavier with each heartbeat. And then, through that sea of noise, a voice broke through, deep, commanding. "Where are you, Maya?" Jack's heart jolted. The stranger's tone pulled at something primal, dark. He turned, gripping the counter like it might keep him grounded. The man at the door stepped further inside. The flickering lights silhouetted his figure against the storm. Tall, powerful, and terrifying. Maya stiffened, her expression shifting into a mask of fear. "No, not now," she whispered, almost pleading. "Time's up, Maya. We've got business," the man said, sidestepping the old lady behind the counter, without a glance. His eyes, cold steel, pinned Jack in place, reading him with a predatory ease. "Who are you?" Jack's voice cracked, a mix of anger and uncertainty bubbling to the surface. "What do you want with her?" The stranger smirked, lips curling like a snake ready to strike. "You really don't know, do you?" His gaze flickered over Maya, then back to Jack. "She's worth more than you can imagine." Heart racing, Jack searched Maya's face. She looked like a deer caught in headlights. "What does that mean?" he demanded, but before Maya could speak, the man lunged forward, grabbing her wrist tight enough to make her wince. "You've not been careful, Maya. So many loose ends. The past doesn't just disappear, it catches up." The words hung heavy, suffocating. Jack took a step forward, adrenaline kicking. "Let her go! You don't have any right!" But the man's laugh rumbled deep, a mocking sound that echoed in the cramped store. Right? This is about survival, kid. You think you can shield her from the consequences of her choices? Jack's chest tightened. What choices? Maya's gaze flickered between them, fraught with something deeper. Jack, please! I didn't think you'd find me here. The gravity of her words drew Jack up short. Find you? You're running from something? I didn't want you to know. Her voice cracked under the weight of unspoken tensions. I thought I could leave it behind. With a loud crash, the store window exploded from a nearby bolt of lightning, scattering glass like rain. Jack jumped, ducking down, instinct kicking in. From the corner of his eye, he saw the man's expression shift. A glimmer of panic flaring there, just for a second. Maya seized the moment. Run now! She screamed. Jack hesitated, glancing from her face to the man, who was already recovering, anger simmering and intention clear. Everything inside him screamed to fight or flee, but he hesitated at the door, torn. Then he felt a jolt on his shoulder, and, out of nowhere, another man appeared, barreling in like a whirlwind. Get down! The stranger flinched, releasing Maya. She stumbled, confusion coated with urgency. The sudden chaos shifted Jack's world on its axis. Who was this new player? What was happening? Move! The new man yanked Jack out of the way just as a gunshot rang out, loud and final, shattering the air. He felt the air rush past him as he hit the ground, staring at Maya with wild eyes. Nothing made sense. The desperation and fear shattered his perception of reality. Fragments of his old life swirling away into the storm outside. But in that moment, a deeper truth clawed its way to the surface. What if Maya wasn't just a victim? What if she was a part of something darker? As sirens wailed in the distance, chaos unraveling, Jack was left trembling, staring at the shattered window. The storm, still raging outside and inside, pulling him deeper. Everything he thought he knew threatened to collapse around him. Who held the key to this twisted game? And when would that answer come crashing down? Maya's question hung in the air like the thick fog of the storm outside. Jack opened his mouth, but words caught in his throat. Bong! Drowning. Yes, that was it. Every decision felt like a weight pulling him under. Thunder cracked, a sound that echoed through the tiny store. Jack glanced at the door, and the shadow lingered outside, just a step away. Panic to act clenched in his stomach. He turned back to Maya, who was watching him with an intensity that made him want to crawl into himself and hide. Jack, she said, voice low, something tells me you've got a storm brewing inside too. Suddenly, the door burst open with a force that rattled the shelves. Rain flooded in like a dark tide, and the man from outside stepped into the store. He was tall, dressed in a soaking trench coat, hair slicked back. His eyes zeroed in on Maya, cold and sharp. Maya, he said, voice smooth but dripping with menace. You thought you could run away? Jack's heart raced as fear laced through the atmosphere. Who was he? The light from the neon sign outside flickered, and for a moment Jack felt suspended in time. Maya's defiant stance shifted, her shoulders tensing. I didn't think you'd follow me here. I'm not going back. Jack's instinct was to reach out, to protect her, but he remained frozen, every muscle taut. caught in the tension between his gut feeling and the impending danger. Back, Jack managed to croak, stepping in front of Maya. What does he mean, back? The man turned to Jack, his expression a mix of amusement and derision. Bum. Oh, you have no idea, do you? She left the all behind. The life, the money, the... He trailed off with a smirk. The conexiones. Maya's gaze darted between Jack and the stranger. It doesn't matter what I had. What matters now is freedom. Jack's mind raced. Freedom? What had she been running from? The walls felt like they were closing in. He felt like he was trapped in a whirlwind he could never escape. With a motion as quick as a flash of lightning, the stranger whipped something from his pocket. A small metallic device, gleaming ominously. You think you can escape your past, Maya? You're on borrowed time. What is that? Jack asked, courage faltering. What is it? Maya whispered, her eyes widening with fear. No, not that. The stranger laughed, a low, chilling sound. This? Just a little reminder of what you owe. He pressed a button, and suddenly the air was filled with a sharp beeping. Maya's expression shifted from defiance to sheer panic. Stop! You don't have to do this! But it was too late! The beeping intensified, and before Jack could fully grasp what was happening, Maya's hands flew to her ears. Jack, run! She screamed. But before he could move, the shop flooded with blinding light, pulsating with a violent energy that rattled everything inside. Stunned, Jack's heart raced as the shelves trembled. Silence. The noise cut off like a switch. The tension hung thick in the air, leaving an eerie calm. Maya collapsed to her knees, hands gripping her hair. The stranger stood there, a twisted smile on his face, and the very foundation of Jack's world started to tremble. Now we can finish this, the man said, each word wrapped in malice. Jack stared at Maya, realization dawning with a brutal impact. The game was bigger than he thought, and as the lights flickered back to life, everything changed in that moment. Questions churned in his mind. Who was Maya really? What was that device? And why did he suddenly feel like he was drowning in secrets he'd never known existed? The truth was starting to unravel, and with it, his world began to tilt on its axis. Jack felt the pull of a new storm brewing, the kind that might plunge him deeper into an abyss he was never prepared for. Maya's voice trembled, but Jack couldn't shake the eyes of the man before him. The air felt thick and heavy, electric with fear and uncertainty. He couldn't process the moment, his heart banging like a drum in his chest. Then, without warning, a loud crack blasted through the store. Not thunder this time, but something much more foreboding. The door slammed open, and more figures spilled in, boots pounding against the floor. Chaos erupted, shouts mingling with the storm outside. Before Jack could react, a woman stepped forward, confidence radiating from her like a beacon. She wore a tailored black suit, her blonde hair slicked back in a tight bun. "Derek, step aside," she commanded, eyes locking onto Jack and Maya with a chilling intensity. "Who are you?" Jack forced out, instinctively shielding Maya. "Trust me, you don't want to know." Derek sneered, backing up slightly, his bravado faltering. "She's just... I'm not here for you. the woman interrupted, her voice calm and steady. "I'm here for Maya. We have unfinished business." Maya's eyes widened. "No, you can't be here." Jack turned, confusion shooting through him like ice. "What are you talking about?" "Keep out of this, kid," Derek spat, but the woman raised her hand to silence him. "Enough," she shouted. "Maya, it's time to reveal who you really are." A pulse of dread shot through Jack. He could feel the temperature of the room drop, tangible and thick. "What does that even mean?" Maya stepped back, her eyes darting around, taking in the growing danger. "Jack, you don't understand. I've tried to keep it hidden. I never wanted any of this." The woman took a slow, deliberate step closer, the air thickening with tension. "Your past is catching up, Maya. You're a key figure in a network far more dangerous than any of us anticipated." Jack's heart sank. "What kind of network?" With a sharp motion, the woman drew a document from her pocket, slapping it onto the counter. It was emblazoned with seals and signatures that looked official, but felt sinister. "You have no idea the power you once wielded. You were an operative, Maya. Trained, connected." Derek's frustration mounted. "You're lying. She's nothing now." But the woman ignored him, focusing solely on Maya. "It's time you reclaim your identity. You need to face what you've run from." "Maya?" Jack's voice cut through the thick air, panic clawing at his insides. What did you do?" Then, unexpectedly, Maya began to tremble, her resolve crumbling beneath the weight of the truth. "I was part of something dark, Jack. Something cruel." The storm surged outside. A surge of reckoning swept through the store. A light flickered ominously above, casting distorted shadows. Then a scream pierced the chaos, a sound from the street, raw and visceral. Jack turned, instinctively moving toward the noise, but the moment shattered like glass. He faced the woman again, horrified. "Maya!" he cried, looking back at her now trembling frame, tears brimming in her eyes. "What did you bring on us?" But before she could respond, the door burst open again, and a man rushed in, wild-eyed. "They're here! They've found us!" Heart pounding, Jack felt reality shift. The shadows outside weren't just rain. They were the consequences of everything Maya had hidden. This was more than he could handle. All of it felt like a tidal wave crashing around him. In that whirlwind of emotion, a revelation struck as hard as the rain. Jack looked at Maya, not just the woman he had been drawn to, but someone entangled in a web he could hardly comprehend. "Who the hell are you?" he breathed, understanding that the woman he thought he knew was looming larger and darker than he ever imagined. Then everything went dark again as the lights cut out, plunging them into chaos once more. The storm outside raged on, and the truth lay fragile in the air, leaving Jack desperate for answers. How deep did this rabbit hole go? What kind of storm had he walked into? And would they all survive the unraveling? Maya's voice faded into the storm as darkness swallowed the room, leaving only the pounding rain and the frantic rhythm of their breaths. Jack felt the air electric with tension, thick with unspoken truths and the looming threat of what lay outside. He stood frozen, holding on to the moment, heart racing. "Maya!" he yelled, gripping her arm tighter. Desperate to keep her close, to shield her from the unfolding chaos. But before anything more could happen, a sound echoed through the air. A deafening roar that seemed to shake the very foundations of the store. Suddenly, the light flickered back on, revealing chaos where moments ago there had been a fragile calm. A shock of realization jolted through Jack as he caught the stranger's expressions. Their eyes widened, not just in fear, but in horror. A glimmer of understanding ripped through Jack, igniting a panic he had never known. And then, from the street outside, shadows emerged, dark figures, eyes gleaming, streaming into the store like a wave ready to crash. They moved with purpose, swift and relentless, cutting through the chaos. In an instant, they seized control of the room. "Get down!" one of them shouted, voice sharp as a blade. Jack dropped to the floor, pulling Maya under him. He felt the ground shake, the rumble of boots pounding, and the oppressive tension climbing higher. But then, the air shifted again. The woman in the suit, she broke through the unfolding mayhem, moving with a fierce elegance as she faced the new intruders. "No!" she screamed, her voice echoing off the walls as she pointed directly at Maya. Not her. The tension rippled. Jack glanced at Maya, every instinct screaming to protect her. But something in her eyes flickered. Was it regret? Panic? The weight of a past he still didn't understand. "Stay close," he urged, but a cold chill gripped his insides as one of the men charged at them. He was stocky, his face a mask of fury, and as he advanced, Jack shielded Maya with his own body. "Leave her alone!" Jack shouted, fists clenched. But his bravery felt flimsy against the brutal reality closing in around them. Then the unexpected happened. "Duh!" The woman lunged, colliding with the stocky man, and in the melee, something dropped from her grip, a small metal device, slick and menacing. It clattered to the ground, the sound slicing through the chaos. Maya's eyes flicked to it, and Jack felt a rush of confusion wash over him. "What is that?" Before she could answer, a blinding flash erupted from the device, accompanied by a hiss that filled the room with a chilling hum. The world changed in an instant. Maya's eyes widened in horror. "No, you can't use that!" Jack watched, heart pounding, as the beings around them froze, mired in a thick fog that poured from the device like shadows come to life. They were engulfed in a thick cloud that twisted and spiraled, turning them into figures of despair. Jack's breath caught in his throat. "Maya!" he yelled, dread creeping in. "What is that thing?" The cloud began to fade, revealing something awful, beyond comprehension. The stocky man faltered, confusion twisting his face as shadows began to link themselves like threads pulling apart. Jack's eyes widened as gaunt figures emerged from the depths of the mist. "Father?" gasped the man, staggering back, terror etched on his features. Jack's heart sank. Suddenly, it all came rushing back, a name, a fear, a shadow he had thought long buried. The storm outside was nothing compared to this revelation. Maya stood, trembling, the very core of her past unraveling before him. "Jack," she whispered, voice cracking, dread spilling over. "I didn't know. I didn't want you to see this." But it was too late. The truth he thought he didn't know began to unravel, revealing a history bound to secrets that ran deeper than he could ever expect. Shadows whispered dark memories into the storm, and as the flickering lights stuttered, Jack realized the past was far from over. Maya wasn't just part of his world. She was the key to a darkness he never knew existed. And as the shadows danced around them, revealing the haunted faces of those long gone, the question echoed within him. How many lives had Maya intertwisted with her past? And could they escape the storm that was now closing in on them all? The noise crackled like the energy in the air, shadows swirling around them, fear clawing at Jack's insides. Maya's past hung heavy, like a storm cloud ready to burst. Jack felt the tug of something immense, an unseen force pulling Maya back into a darkness she desperate. "Jack, please," she breathed, trembling as memories surged around her like a raging tide. "You don't know what they'll do." The dark figures loomed closer, their stares cold and menacing. Jack could feel the weight of their threat bearing down. He stepped in front of Maya, instincts screaming for him to protect her. "Get away from her!" he shouted. But the words felt thin against the roar of the storm. The woman in the suit shifted, stepping forward as if she could wield her presence like a weapon. "This isn't just about you, Maya," she said sharply. "These people have been looking for you. Your freedom isn't just a choice. It's a risk to everyone you've come in contact with." Jack felt a knot tighten in his chest. "What are you saying?" he pressed, desperation flooding his voice. "What did she do?" But before she could answer, a crack split the air. The stocky man lunged for them, rage fueling his movements. But the woman was quick. She tackled him to the ground, a flurry of fists and fury. Jack and Maya watched, hearts pounding, reality spinning around them. "This is your chance," the woman yelled over her shoulder. "Run!" Maya grabbed Jack's hand, urgency pushing them toward the back door. But just as they reached it, another figure rushed in, halting them. It was Derek, eyes wide, desperation dancing across his face. "You can't leave with them!" "Why? What do you want with her?" Jack shot back, fury and fear intertwining. "Because she's the key!" Derek shouted, voice rising. "You have to understand, Maya." A sharp clang echoed, a warning from the storm that rumbled above. It sounded like thunder, but Jack felt something shift, a palpable fear washing through him. The shadows in the room seemed to pulse with unease. "Come with me," Maya urged, eyes flicking to the door. Jack hesitated, glancing back at Derek and the rising chaos. "Jack, trust me," she implored, her grip tightening like a lifeline. With seconds left, Jack made his decision. He yanked her outside, rain pouring down, pounding against their skin. They raced through the night, the storm raging above like a dynamic beast, a haunting reminder of what was at stake. As they stumbled into the alley, panting for air, Maya paused, face pale in the flickering streetlight. "What if they follow us?" she murmured, heart hammering, uncertainty slipping into her voice. "They can't, not if we keep moving," Jack reassured, tightening his grip on her hand. "We'll figure this out, together." But silence threatened to blanket them. Jack searched her eyes. "You're strong, Maya, stronger than them." A flicker of hope ignited against the darkness, threatening to consume them both. "Let's go! We can't let them win," she whispered, courage igniting between them as they took off again. Jack pushed doubts aside, racing toward a new dawn, one step at a time, leaving shadows behind in the storm. And as they disappeared into the night, the city around them shifted, a whirlpool of secrets and revelations tangled in the storm. They might be free or trapped in even darker waters. The night buzzed with unanswered questions, the kind that prickled at their hearts. But together, they would face any storm, or so they hoped. As this whirlwind of storytelling draws to a close, your journey never has to end. You must subscribe immediately to my channel so you don't miss the upcoming exclusive stories that are coming your way. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. We rely on your engagement to keep this alive. And don't stop there. Flood the comment section with your reactions and theories about this crazy ending. What did you think of Maya's past? What's next for Jack and her? Share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this ending. Don't wait even a second longer to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Let's keep the story alive together.